So I didn't see anybody in that space. I saw the Susie Ormans or the financial planners. I saw other
Sure.
people, but there was nobody that was an expert that said, hey, this is the way it is with home ownership, and this is a great way that home ownership needs to be viewed. So we established ourselves as America's Mortgage Coach.
We are talking with America's Mortgage Coach, John W. Mallett, talk about the current hyper-competitive housing market.
Well, let's ask America's Mortgage Coach, John Mallett.
Are you sitting on the sidelines of today's hyper-competitive housing market waiting to buy? Then stay right there and listen to the advice of our next guest, who's the author of Buy Your First Home Today.
John Mallett. John, thanks for joining me. How are you?
You got it. Doing great, Danny. Thanks for having me on.
John Mallett is America's Mortgage Coach. He's joining us now.
Buy Your First Home Today is incredibly thorough, but buying a home can be very intimidating.
You have no idea. People get so much anxiety over it. You're exactly right.
Like a lot of housing experts think a crash is unlikely. So do you agree? Are we more likely to see a dip than a crash?
Oh, great question, Sally. Yes, our research, our team, we've done quite a bit of research and looked at trends on it, and there's no question that we're not really in a bubble, but I do think that we are going to moderate here in the near future. Bubbles are created based on a false foundation, and unlike the subprime crisis when you had payments that were going to rise by more than double, and the underwriting parameters were really irresponsible, this is a much different situation.
It's really quite wild, and you hear people really frustrated because there's the multiple offers that they're falling into. There's people coming in and buying with cash. What advice do you have for people who feel a little stuck?
That's a great question. 33% of people who rent can buy but don't know it. My belief is go for it. Do not get intimidated by people making cash offers. My office right now, we have people making 3% down payments, 5% down payments, and the offers are being accepted. It's just how you go about getting the offer accepted. It's having a great real estate professional help you and a great lender working together as a team. You can do it. Now is the time to do it.
Don't you think that's a mistake in this kind of market?
Oh, no question about it. If you don't use a real estate professional, you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's a fact that people who own homes, couples that own homes, there's a 50% chance less that they'll get divorced. I grew up in the projects. I grew up on welfare as a teenager. And so to me, housing is transformational. When you can go from renting to buying, your life is changed, it's transformed.
But do you feel like everything's going to be pretty mainstream from here on out? You're not going to see it fluctuate if you're out in the country or if you're out in the suburbs versus in the city?
Well, I think that the prices are starting to fluctuate more based on migration. Right now, our studies show that there's a lot of interstate, regional, what we call regional migration. We think that there's going to be more overstate boundary migrations because now people know that they don't have to go into the office to work. They can actually go to the Midwest.
What I find, our research shows, is that there's a lot of people that say, oh yeah, I like living by the beach, or I like doing with my stocks. But there's always something tugging at them. There's always something tugging saying, you know what, you ought to try home.
This idea that I'm not going to get my offer accepted because I don't have cash is ridiculous. It's totally not true.
John, thank you so much. Appreciate your insight. I want people to read your book as well. Buy Your First Home Today, Empower Your Life, Build Your Wealth, Own the Home of Your Dreams. He's an expert, a speaker, and an author, and we're so glad he was able to join us today. You can check out johnwmallett.com.